fields. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 112 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. We are back live, as you can tell by that random noise. We are back live with you on the air, Twitter, X, whatever it is you want to call it, Facebook, YouTube,
Whatever
Twitch.
you want to call it.
What do you call them? Tweets still, or do you call them X's? They're
I call them
tweets.
tweets.
Yeah, so it's Twitter still, not X.
It's Twitter.
No, it's called X. The formal
I
name for it is
know.
X.
I don't call it X. I call it tweeters, and they're
just-
twits.
They're okay. Yeah. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how are you doing today?
I am doing freaking amazing. Sorry, I'm just doing my job that I do before I come on air, because I didn't do it before I came on air. But I did it now. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Life is treating me like a king. It's been good. I can't complain.
That's good. I mean, other than the fact that there's no football on yet, the Canucks aren't playing hockey. But that's not quite true, because the Abbotsford Canucks have made the playoffs.
Yes.
And I know it's something we talked about off air. I don't know if we talked about it on air last week or if we talked about it off air.
You just told
everything
me. You just said
blurs
one
together.
day we're doing this, and I went, "Oh, okay."
The Abbotsford Canucks have made the playoffs, which start on Wednesday. They
Wednesday,
play-
Thursday, Saturday.
Yes.
Huh?
So
Oh, it's a best of three.
the first round of the AHL playoffs is a best of three,
Oh, okay.
all hosted by the team that finished higher.
Oh, of course.
So it's all three games are in Abbotsford. So if you're
Oh.
in the area and you want to go watch some really good, fun hockey, that's the time to do it. Wednesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 7 p.m., and if needed, a Saturday night at 7 p.m. game.
It won't be
Um,
needed. They're going to win Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be over.
I hope so. That is really what I am hoping for. But
Wouldn't that be cool, though? The baby Canucks win a trophy?
yeah, I mean, they got all sorts of support since the big Canucks got eliminated. Kirill Kudryavtsev, Victor Mancini, Atu Ratu, Linus Karlsson, Max Hassan, Ty Mueller, and goalie Nikita Tolopilo went back down to Abbotsford.
They
And
are stacked.
And Abbotsford finished second in the AHL in the Pacific Division. So like they
Oh,
were
really?
already a good team, and now you're adding in people who played at least a quarter, if not more, of the season in Atu Ratu, Linus Karlsson, Mancini playing in the NHL.
Nice.
One of the big things as well is the Abbotsford Canucks are one of the youngest teams in the AHL.
See? And we haven't traded away our youth like we have in the past. You have to tell me if I'm sitting too far back from the mic. I think I'm okay. I
No,
just
you-
got a new mic, folks. Look at this. Look at this beauty thing. Look at it. It's a weapon. That thing's got some weight behind it. What?
I'm going to say nothing.
You were going to say something. Come on, smart ass. Make your smart ass comment.
That is a crazy. Sorry, we have Zach Nelson in the chat who just dropped in. The Abbey Canucks completed the AHL regular season without allowing a single shorthanded goal.
What?
That's wild.
Whew, that is wild, Zach.
That is a random stat, but
Thanks for joining us, Zach. It's been a while since I don't know if you watch all the time and you just don't comment, or it's good to see you.
anything else on the Abbey Canucks? Obviously, I mean, we're going to be watching them peripherally.
I met the dad of a baby Canuck.
Yep. Which one? Do you remember his name?
Nielsen.
Yep. There you go. I'm proud of you.
That's only because you mentioned it yesterday. I would never have remembered it otherwise. I was on an airplane. He sat beside me. We were heading to Abbotsford. He was going to watch a game.
There you go.
So, what's his name? Tristan Nielsen. Watch for that kid. He's going to make the big Canucks sooner or later, I hope. And then I can say I sat beside his dad on an airplane.
You know your claim to fame.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the big Canucks, the Vancouver, there's a lot of things to get into there. I don't know what's going on with your end there. There was some sort of feedback of some sort. But Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin spoke to the media today, and there is a lot to get into from this press conference.
It was insane. I watched it live for the most part.
I tried to watch it live, but kept falling asleep because they talk so slow and are so methodical about how they talk in a very monotone voice. Sorry, I'm just pulling up a clip here. Let's start off. We have some clips here from the press conference. Let's start off with how the press conference was started by Jim Rutherford.
Everybody knows and talks about. We had a very disappointing season that we feel bad about.
Why am I big here?
We started the season as a lot of people would view the Canucks as a contending team. We ran into an unfortunate incident in the first half of the season that hurt the chemistry of our team, that we eventually had to make a trade that we didn't expect to make and didn't want to make. So we went from a contending team to a team in transition. And we've continued to transition the team since the JT Miller trade. We feel that our goaltending's in a good place, our defense is in a good place, and now there's work to be done on the forwards to get back to where we would like to be and should be. That's all I have to open with, and fire away.
So what did you think of Patrick Allvin's... Why is this up here? What is happening? Get out of here. What did you think of Patrick Allvin's statements? Looks like you're trying to talk, but I believe you might have hit a button and muted yourself.
I did on purpose, though. I think he was just stating the obvious. There was a question just shortly after that. That was his opening statement. That's Allvin. Who was Rutherford sitting beside him? He didn't say squat. He just
that was Rutherford.
Oh, Rutherford talked. Allvin just sat there.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the reporters asked if he could elaborate on the JT Miller situation and what happened and why he took the leave of absence. And you could tell that the rumors we heard, I'm going to go on the record as saying the rumors we heard are probably 100% correct, allegedly. Just if you watch that press conference, I don't know if you have that clip.
I don't have that clip, unfortunately.
Because it was uncomfortable to watch. It was one of those where you go, ooh, he doesn't want to talk about that. So I think I'm going to go on the record as saying JT Miller, I think he was suspended. He didn't just take a leave of absence. I think they suspended him as per the rumor. I won't get into it. But yeah, I mean, for the general manager to come out, is he the general manager or is he the hockey operations?
He is president of hockey operations.
To come out and basically say that cost us our season.
I mean, you think about it. We talked about it last week. If you were winning, that doesn't happen. Can you really blame the season on that, or is that a microcosm of what was already happening in the season? Look at last year. It's not like Petey and Miller were best friends throughout their entire relationship in Vancouver.
No, but if you... how do I phrase this correctly? If there's a cancer in the room and it's not being addressed, then it can be and quite possibly could cause a dysfunctional team. And when that is if it's that dysfunctional in the locker room, that is going to show when they come out onto the ice. It's impossible not to. I've put many teams together in sales and in different retail operations. And if there's not a cohesive team, it can become really tough to make things work properly.
But you say that, like, go back to last season. It's not like we're talking 3-4 seasons ago. It was literally a season ago where this team won and there was no issues.
Well, it was always a fact that Miller and EP40 didn't get along. The alleged incident happened this year.
Yes, but would that alleged incident happen if you were winning?
Oh, probably not. Definitely not.
So then how can you blame the losing on that incident that only happened because you were losing?
Well, I think because it happened early in the season, and when you start early in the season with your top forward not producing, your goalie hurt, etc., I don't know. I mean, you could, again, we talked about it last week. What happened? What the fudge happened? There's so many different scenarios of what happened. Who knows?
Yeah. It to me, it just seems like a cop-out to use that as that's what went wrong this season.
Well, it's better than not saying anything about it.
No, I agree. They needed.
We bitched and whined that they didn't come out and talk about it.
Yes. No, I'm just saying, like, they definitely needed to talk about it and address it, and they did that. Yeah. I just think they needed, like, to use that as that's the reason why we had such a crap year and we've had to rebuild or retool. I don't think that's really a good enough answer for me. Anything else on that part of the...
No, because there's so much more we need to cover.
Let's talk about this next clip. I'm not even going to tee up the clip. I'm just going to play the clip.
Oh.
And then we'll talk about this one.
Are we legally allowed to play these clips? Or are we going to get ourselves in trouble?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
I think the greatest fear for Canuck fans here is 2 years from now. Quinn Hughes can become an unrestricted free agent. How cognizant are you with the moves that you're going to be making this summer and within these next 2 years? Do you consult with Quinn? Do you let him know what the game plan is? And when do you start thinking about an extension for Quinn Hughes? Because I think that'd be one loss with this franchise. I don't know if you'd ever bounce back if he was to leave here.
Totally agree, 100%. The one thing that we will be sure of, that we will have enough cap space to offer him the kind of contract that he deserves. That's the one thing we can prepare for. And it may not boil down to money with him. You know, he said before he wants to play with his brothers. And that would be partly out of our control, in our control, if we brought his brothers here. So there's many moving parts here. Agree 100%. This franchise cannot afford to lose a guy like Quinn Hughes. And we will do everything we can to keep him here, but at the end of the day, it'll be his.
As simple as that. As simple as that.
Did he cross the line? There was all kinds of talk that this is meddling or whatever they...
Tampering,
meddling. It was meddling too. Tampering, meddling. It was everything put together in one. People right away on Twitter blew up, and people were like, did he just say that? It was like, basically, I mean, if you read between the lines there, did he actually say they're going to go after the Hughes brothers?
And I'm quoting, it's on the screen, in our control if we brought his brothers here. What would
In
it take?
our control.
Yeah. So the full quote, and I'm going to just read it word for
Yes.
word. He, talking about Quinn Hughes, has said before he wants to play with his brothers. That would be partly out of our control. In our control if we brought his brothers here.
That's insane. Like, can you imagine? Who is there? There's Luke.
And Jack. They both play on the Devils.
Oh, I thought there was another Hughes somewhere.
Quinn.
No, smart ass. Why did I think there was another brother playing by himself? No?
Nope.
So they both play for the Devils.
Yep.
Let's have some fun tonight. Let's have some fun with Jake. Jake.
Yep.
What would it take in a trade? Because in the press conference, he talked a lot about how it was going to be almost impossible to fill the voids they need through free agency. It was going to happen through trades.
Which is what we talked about last week.
Yes. So what would it take for the Devils to go, yeah, okay.
EP40 would have to be on the table. Tom Willander would have to be on the table.
Yeah. Right? It's like...
And a first round, and probably a first round pick.
I don't know if you got the clip when he talked about EP40 and how disappointed he was in EP40 and how basically saying he wasn't a professional this year and he came in fat and out of shape. He didn't say fat and out of shape, but he sure fucking insinuated that he was fat and out of shape. And so do they put him up? Do they put up him and do they re-sign Besser? Because Besser, I know, has made it clear.
In his exit interviews, I tried to find it today and I couldn't find it, where he literally said, even if I get traded, I know I'll be back to Vancouver a lot. This is home. Like his girlfriend is from Vancouver.
Yes.
And I think it was Thomas Drance who said, don't discount that.
No, that's huge.
Look at rest his soul, Johnny Gaudreau. Why did he leave Calgary?
Because of his girlfriend, wife.
She wanted to be back east, closer to family.
Yes. I mean, these guys are gone 10 months a year, thereabouts.
Yeah.
Right? They want to be by family. They don't want to be sitting in the middle of New York City by themselves. I mean, it would be cool for me, but
some people would.
Yeah.
JT.
After that press conference, I kind of sat back and went, holy fudge-a-macula. I mean, if you read between all the lines and you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, what he said, to me, it was like, EP40, you're tradable. But they only have till July to do that.
Well, for EP40 to not be approving where he's going.
Yeah. Right?
Like he can always, he can always waive his no trade clause or no movement clause. That unlikely, but it is a possibility.
So, I mean, if you could put up an EP40 and somebody else, who did you say?
Tom Willander.
Who's that?
Our top prospect who they're in a contract dispute, who won't sign his entry level.
And maybe toss in a draft pick?
First round pick.
Do we get both uses for that?
No. You'd be selling EP40 an all-time low on value.
Maybe that's why they're talking him up.
Yeah, talking him up. Yeah, he came. We want to see him improve himself.
He's been at the gym though every day for the last 2 days.
Ooh, old days.
He's not just stopping in to have a cup of coffee, they said. Hey, we got Q-Man. I don't know who Q-Man is. Canucks don't have the assets to trade for the Hughes brothers. See, that's what I'm thinking, Q-Man. Who the hell is Q-Man? And why do these people not go by real names?
I mean, Zach and Charlie are in the chat and they go by real names. Q-Man just likes to keep you on your toes.
No. Do I know Q-Man?
I have no idea.
You know who it is.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So Q-Man, I agree with you. I don't know what we would have to do. Do we trade Quinn and retain part of his salary? I mean,
No.
not Quinn. EP40 and retain?
No, you're not retaining on that long of a salary.
No.
The only thing I can think of is I don't think the package we just put together with Elias Pettersson that doesn't help us in the long term because we're still short a top six forward.
It's a lot easier for the Devils to trade for
Quinn?
Quinn to get Quinn to go to the Devils.
Who are they trading for Quinn? What are you talking about?
Well, but I mean, it would be easier to get one player. They could put a package together for Quinn because
the only way Quinn is leaving the Vancouver Canucks is if there's no contract signed.
Okay, now Q-Man, now you just blew it. Like, I call people out when they make dumbass statements, and that's a dumbass statement. I'm going to put it up. I don't normally do this. This is Jake's job, but I'm going to put this up because seriously, come on. EP40 value is OEL like celery dump at this point. That's just a ridiculous silliness.
Yeah.
Silliness, I tell you.
Yeah, OEL's on a team that finished in the top 3 of their conference, getting power play time.
Yeah, but
leads a playoff series.
Yeah, but we dumped him for pennies on the dollar. Come on.
We're still paying him.
Exactly.
No, I don't think there's a package out there right now that would make sense in any world for us to get both Jack and Luke.
But you think you could get Jack? Is that what you're saying?
I think EP40, Tom Willander in a first gets you Jack, and then Luke just has to wait it out until he wants to come play with his brothers.
How long is Luke's contract? Because Quinn's got another 2 years before he's unrestricted.
Let me look this up.
Because I mean, can you imagine if he walks away?
Who, Quinn?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
We'd have to sell the team. Move it to a different city. Pack it up.
He is at the end of his entry-level contract this year.
Oh. So he's a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe we grab Luke for pennies on the dollar.
Or you could just offer sheet him.
Yeah, right? Some ridiculous offer.
Yeah.
Right? We got the salary cap for him. I don't know. Interesting. How about Jack? When is his contract up?
End of 29-30.
Oh, so he's got a long time.
Yeah, he's in year 3 of 8.
Yeah, and Q-Man, I agree. Devils will just have to wait 2 years. Why give up assets? It's true.
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
only way
saying.
that's going to happen for Canucks in the favor of the Canucks is we trade for him.
Yeah, the only way Hughes is leaving is if he's not going to sign a contract, and then you're selling everyone. You're selling Demko. You're selling Lankinen.
And every management member,
is
every coach, every owner, fire the owner. Because at that point, this team is effed.
Well, and speaking of the coach,
yes, another big.
We're very torn on this one. Because, well, let's watch the clip and then we'll come back and probably argue this one.
Really? We're going to argue? We don't
I know
argue.
I know it's shocking.
You just don't admit when you're wrong.
The one doing the contract, and I know that like every year or all during the year, there's always issues being talked about what the coaches want the general manager to get for them and how he wants to play and all that. I believe that communication's been good this year, and it's even been better since the season's ended because I've actually sat in a couple of those meetings, and it's been a really good dialogue, okay? We will not exercise the team option for him to stay. We don't feel it's right to have somebody here that may have his mind somewhere else. And I'd say that about anybody. This is not just about talk. But we believe that, and I believe that Talk and his coaching staff did as good a job coaching this team this year as they did the year before when he was coach of the year. Now, he was dealt a totally different hand this year. When the team won the division, it was a lot of good work by him, a lot of good work by the players, but everything went right. This year, we've talked enough about, the incident that happened and affected the chemistry of the room and affected the play of the team in the first half and forced a trade. But with all that going on, how he handled the situation and how he handled the team was really good. So I give him and his staff kudos for the job they did this year. As for his contract, we've gone through a process. We've negotiated. I would suspect sometime this week he'll have a decision. We have gone a long ways from where coaches have been compensated with the Canucks for years, forever actually, and we're hoping that he takes that contract.
Okay,
Couple things there.
You take the floor first.
It's not about talk. I'm going to talk about something else first. This is where I was sitting at work and I went, because he literally said the incident that happened.
With having to trade Miller and Petey.
No, he was talking about the incident that happened that caused the rift to explode in the dressing room. That's the way he described it.
No, you are literally taking words out of his mouth and rearranging them to fit your narrative.
No.
I agree with your narrative. You're taking words out of his mouth to fit that narrative.
But again, the team has said, here's what we're going to pay you. We're all in. All the chips are in the middle. And if you don't want it, you're free to go. Because right now they could force him to stay. They do have the option for one more year. So they could say, nope, you're staying for a year. But that would be dumb.
Yeah.
On all parts.
Be super dumb.
And we've seen this freaking team be so dumb when it comes to coaches in the past that I was actually impressed with the way it was worded and the fact that they said, we're all in. I mean, he didn't use those words, but he basically said, we've put a contract in front of them that's as much as, if not better than any other coach in the history of the Canucks have ever been paid forever. Notice how he said forever. So now it's up to talk. Does he take it? I don't think he does.
So yeah, you messaged me today just after the press conference, during the press conference, that you felt Rick Tocchet is gone.
I don't think he's coming back.
The way, I don't know if you heard it again, I couldn't find any clips from his media availability before we went live here, but the way he was talking about how he's having conversations with players, giving them like things to work on and everything, to me, that's a coach that wants to be back.
I think that's just Tocchet. I mean, he's just that. He would probably, I bet you he gets phone calls from old players on different teams, said, hey, I'm having this issue. How can I fix it? And he would help them because that's just listening to him. Yeah. He seems like a real mentor kind of leader, not banging his fist and telling them to do what I tell you to do, but more of a mentoring. We've seen it many times when he's been on the ice with the players after practice.
Yeah.
Right. So God, I hope he stays. I think he's one of the best coaches we've had since, I don't know, who could we?
Vigneault.
Yeah, probably since Vigneault. 2011, was that 11? Was
yeah.
he? Yeah. And then before that, Nielsen. Like, that's how good of a coach I would put him as. I really do. I really like his style. Pat Quinn. Exactly. Like in that same category. And unfortunately, I don't think he'll go down as one of the best coaches in the Canucks history because he had one good season and then one terrible season that he was out of his hands a lot of the ways.
I think to me, like the fact that they've at least like they're upfront and honest, like we've gone all in. We've basically went to management and said we need you, or ownership and said we need you to pay more than you've ever been paid a coach before in the entirety of the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that. It comes down to what this management team has envisioned for this team. And it's, to me, it's all going to come down to that. And I think Rick Tocchet will sign a new contract. You just had an open face.
Well, because my Twitter just popped open and I see Sadier Shaw, our friend of the show.
Yep.
Operation Bring Luke and Jack to Vancouver has commenced. That was 8 hours ago now.
Yeah.
That was at 11:45.
So that's during, that was.
We got to get some of these insiders on to talk about this.
I don't think he, like, I haven't seen anything of like tampering, because to me that's not tampering. That's literally saying exactly what Quinn Hughes has said. Yeah, it'd be really cool to play with my brothers in the future. Okay, you want to keep Quinn Hughes? You know what your number one goal should be? To get Luke and Quinn.
We know Sadier, or Sat, as we like to call him, because he is a friend of the show. He's been on before, and he said he would come on again after the season. For him to post that, don't forget, he works for Sportsnet.
Yep.
And the Canucks.
Yep.
Let's face it. Again, I'm probably reading between the lines. I'm throwing things in there that probably might. But what I was thinking while I was moving my phone out of my peripheral vision, so I didn't have to look at it, was if the management team plan is to actually to get the Hughes Bros together, Tocchet would stay.
Yeah.
Because what a joy, an utter joy it would be to coach.
To me, the thing that would just fill my heart with joy would be if we were somehow able to keep Pettersson in all of this, like EP40, and have 3 Petterssons and 3 Hughes all on one team. Just because I think it would be funny.
Just because.
Like to me, that's just one of those things that just makes me giggle.
Can you imagine the announcers? Hughes to Pettersson.
Well, you would have to go Jack to Quinn, Quinn to Luke, Luke to Elias, Elias to Elias to Marcus. Like,
there's only 5 on the ice. You can't have Marcus on there too.
Yeah, you could.
That's 6.
Just take out the goalie. You got 6 skaters.
Number 2 D-man in the league for free in 2 years, Q-Man says. Number 2, he says.
Who's number 1? Who's better than, oh my God, don't fucking start this. Who do you think is better? Q-Man, please just put it in the comments. Who do you think is a better defenseman? Who do you think is a better defenseman than Quinn Hughes in this entire NHL? Because you're wrong.
Whatever name you put out there.
You put Cale Makar, I guarantee you're typing right now, you're going to put Cale Makar, we're a few seconds ahead of you, up to a minute ahead of you. I get it. I'm probably overreacting right now. But Cale Makar is great. But you know what Cale Makar has the luxury of? Teammates that know how to play hockey. There it is. Teammates who know how to play hockey at a high level, 100% of the time.
You put Makar on the Canucks, and Makar's shit. Let's face it.
I wouldn't say shit. I'd say Makar's he's probably top 5 defenseman in the world. But he doesn't drive play. Quinn Hughes, when on the ice, drives play. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane to think that Makar is a better defenseman, I can't even get into it.
Okay, the Orca said, check the comment I just tagged you in. I'm taking that's on X, so I got to go on X.
Yes,
I am working, folks.
I have it pulled up here.
Okay. Who is this Orca?
This is the Orca Overseas at the Orca Overseas on Twitter, and it's a letter to JR, to Jim Rutherford, with
Oh.
5 simple questions.
Oh, this is good. Pull it.
One.
Can you pull it up and put it up on the screen?
I sure can. Give me one
Why
second.
not? Let's do that.
1. When you said almost a year ago at this same presser that we appeared ahead of schedule, did the overwhelming and inexplicable energy of the Canucks Nation influence or overvalue your opinion of this team? 2. How would you describe this franchise's identity? 3. Have you inherited a lot of mistakes, past players, and assets? Do you feel this team is your team yet, or does the freedom of movement and clean slate this summer provides the true start point of your era? 4. Was Trevor Linden, who had the same office as you all those years ago, right when he said that we needed a 7 to 10 years of rebuilding? 5. What is your message to the Canucks fans stuck in traffic listening on the radio, or the kid in the driveway shooting pucks who want something to believe in?
Man, I would have loved to see the answers to those questions.
But why would Canucks media allow fans or podcasts to ask questions at these types of events?
Well, yeah, come on now. That's silliness.
I truly believe, so the Orca Overseas, I truly believe question number 1, when you say we appeared ahead of schedule, did the overwhelming and inexplicable energy of Canucks Nation influence or overvalue your opinion of this team? I wholeheartedly believe that that's what happened. Again, everything went right last year.
Everything went right last year.
And then what happened? Did everything go wrong? Or again, you balance out these 2 seasons, like I talked about last week, balance out these 2 seasons and you have a middle of the road team, a team that's probably a wild card contender.
A wild card?
Yeah, I'm going to look this up. NHL standings this year. How many points did we finish with? We finished with 90 points. 90 points plus last year's. We finished 109 points.
109. So that's 199.
199
So
divided by 2. That puts us at 99.5. 99.5 points this year would have put us ahead of the Wild. So in the first playoff position.
There you go.
The year before that, it would have put us, look at that, right with the Kings. So, like, we would have been in a wild card spot. So, yeah, if you look at this team where everything went right and everything went wrong, clearly we're a team in the middle somewhere.
Yes.
That's great. But what steps do we need to make those big leaps forward? And we didn't hear any of that other than it's going to be really hard to find what we need on the free agency market.
Well, duh.
Okay, so then what are you going to trade?
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. No, they don't. I guess they're almost just, and I remember talking to, I won't mention their names. I remember talking to an insider who's not invited to games anymore and doesn't have Canucks credentials. And they said, we asked too many tough questions. I'll leave it at that.
God forbid we ask too many hard questions. God forbid that the average fan who can't afford to go to most games want answers for spending $250 a year to be able to watch every single game online on their TVs.
Yeah.
Or spend $400 for a family of 4 to go to a hockey game.
Or spend $2,000 to go to the one game in the playoffs.
But the problem is that you don't have these hard questions being asked anymore, and the Orca Overseas in chat is agreeing, or exactly is saying that the Canucks media doesn't ask these questions.
And you know what, Orca? I'm going to just call you Orca. I read a couple of your comments there, and you say you want to be a grassroots journalist. I remember we had what's his name? Dale?
Harmon Dial.
Carmen Dial on, and I asked him because he blew my mind. The kid's like 12, I think. And I wasn't expecting someone that young. I've never seen his face. I've only heard him on podcast. And he kind of blew my mind because he was so intelligent, hockey intelligent, that I was like, when did you start this? And he goes, when I was a teenager. And so you want to be a grassroots journalist? Keep doing what you're doing, dude. Get that in front of the right people. Are we the right people? Sure. Yeah. We have a huge following. But no, you the way you phrase those questions, you'd probably last one season, unfortunately.
Exactly. Harmon is a product of the Botchford project.
Yes.
Right? Jason Botchford took him in and said, okay,
that's right.
This is how you do this.
So problem is you would last a season because you would ask the tough questions, and it doesn't matter what team. I'm not picking on the Canucks here, guys. I know enough people who have been in the sports business, quotation marks, for many, many, many years, and they all say the same thing. You have to stroke the back of the ones that feed you. So if the Canucks feed you, you have to stroke their back. So you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
And that's where I think I don't trying to word this carefully.
You word this very damn carefully because I'm working very hard behind the scenes.
Because
where's his mute button? Hold on, don't talk yet. Let me get my I'm on the mute button just in case.
I'm all for reasonable questions. But there needs to be answers.
Yes.
You can't just say, yeah, everything went wrong this year and JT Miller's to blame for everything that happened this year. We got rid of him and we're rebuilding.
I don't think he said JT Miller was to blame for everything.
Really? Because honestly, and I can say this wholeheartedly, that's how I felt they were trying to cop out on this season.
Yeah. It definitely kind of shocked me that they went that far as to basically say a lot of our issues were in the dressing room this year.
Yeah, but it's still a cop-out to me.
I'm not disagreeing. Not disagreeing at all.
They also put this team together. They came in knowing, and if they didn't know, that's a shame on them. They came in knowing that Miller and PD didn't get along and signed PD to an $11.6 million contract for 8 years.
And did the same thing for JT Miller.
So, yeah, okay, like, eventually that relationship was going to wear down.
Yeah.
And yes, Orca, they inherited these issues.
Definitely.
But they had an opportunity to come in and say, okay, you know what? We love JT Miller as a player, or we love Elias Pettersson as a player, but they can't work well together, and we're here to build a winning franchise, not just one run to the playoffs. We want to build a winning franchise.
But if we go back to last season, before the incident, they did work okay together.
There's always been rumors that they did not get along. There's always been innuendo that they weren't friends and issues back and forth.
It was always like there was no two ways about it. It was a well-known fact for many years.
Yeah.
It wasn't just last year, a year before. It was many years.
No,
I don't
exactly.
know how long they've played together for, but it was many years that they didn't like each other.
Exactly.
It wasn't a secret.
But then what, as management, you need to look at yourself and say, okay, why did we sign both players to these long-term contracts?
Well, because they played well together. They were on the power play together. They played well together. It was after the incident, allegedly, the alleged incident, that everything fell apart. Whoa, where'd you go?
I'm here. I just find it's hard to blame all of these issues on the players. It's just, yeah, it's a struggle to me. This entire situation is a struggle because, yeah, they worked well for years,
Yes.
but we all knew there was going to be a breaking point. You've got very competitive people who don't get along. Eventually, are going to come to a point where that's not going to work anymore.
Well, and I think the frustration of this year boiled over in the beginning of the year, because this apparently happened very early in the season.
Well, yeah,
the alleged incident.
Well, again, it was middle of November, beginning of November when JT Miller took his leave.
Whenever
of
that
absence.
was, it was days before that.
Supposedly.
Days before that. The alleged incident happened. And from what I heard, the owner got involved and said, we won't accept that.
Yeah.
Was it the owner? I'm just what I hear. I just hear things sometimes.
I just want new ownership. Want new ownership that's going to let them rebuild.
Well, haven't we rebuilt like 20 times since 2011?
Have we ever rebuilt since 2011?
No, we've never rebuilt since we've. Yeah, no.
That's the problem.
There's never been a complete rebuild.
And that's why Trevor Linden's no longer working for the Canucks.
Well, and he's the one that said it, right?
Yep.
He said it before he left.
Yep. Anything else on the Canucks in this newsworthy day?
Well, I guess your comment that we could get through a 30-minute show with this. We're now 47 minutes in.
Yeah, earlier today, the old man was like, so what are we talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I think we can BS our way through a 30-minute show. See, there's lots of news to talk about.
Exactly.
Moving on to the CFL. Not a lot of news.
CFL. It's been crickets. Crickets.
Which is fine. It's also the start of the NHL playoffs. Any CFL news would get swept under the rug anyways.
Yes. No, and you know what? I don't expect this is the quiet time for they're preparing for camps, and Stamps are actually getting new turf put in. I saw a picture by what's his name? The radio announcer. I can't think of his name. I'm blank. Mark Stevens. That he showed the turf being ripped up, and because that's been a huge issue for Calgary for a number of years. And
yes, that's the issue with Calgary.
Well, let me finish you interrupt me. You do this all the time. I get in the middle of a sentence, then you interrupt me, and it makes me look like I said something when I didn't.
Go ahead.
What I was trying to say before you rudely interrupted me was it's been a big issue for the Stampeders on the injury side. Many players have said this turf hurts opposing teams as well. So it's good that they're actually spending the money and getting new turf.
Well, they kind of need to if they're going to be hosting the Grey Cup in a couple of years.
Well, do you think they might get rid of the porta potties?
No, they're just going to add more porta potties.
Can you imagine Grey Cup? Just let's say they don't do anything. I've heard from Jay McNeil that they're going to renovate the concourse before the 2026.
You're just dropping this nonchalantly, like this isn't some sort of actual news.
This was made public news. I'm not. I'm not breaking any confidentialities here. This was twittered many months ago because they have to. Let's face it, they have to do something. It's actually when they were awarded the 2026 Grey Cup that Jay said it. But let's say they don't. Can you imagine Grey Cup? What a nightmare it would be to get a beer.
Like Are they going to have any time to do these renovations
They would have to do it off season of next
in the
year.
winter?
That's the only time they could do it. It's kind of indoor, indoor. They could close it off and make it indoor. It wouldn't take much to close it off and make it indoor. Really the only outdoors is the ends and going into the stands. So you could drape those, close off the two ends, do the east side, and then do the same on the west side. Can you connect them? That's the question. I'd like to see it connected better than it is. They could expand on both sides and connect that concourse and put in 20 to 30 more concessions, 10 on each side.
Or even if you don't do that, even if you don't add the concessions, add washrooms.
Oh,
right? Like we've talked about it a lot. McMahon has terrible washrooms, but if you're going to be hosting a Grey Cup and actually try to fill McMahon to capacity, because let's face it, they never even get close to half capacity.
No, not even Labor Day anymore.
During the season. And even then that takes an hour during halftime to go in, grab a hot chocolate and come back to your seats. It took us all of halftime plus another 10 minutes.
Yes, it was 10 minutes into, I think it was 8 minutes into the
I think it was 5 minutes into the third quarter, which usually equates to about 10 minutes of real life.
Yeah, exactly. I have reached out to Jay McNeil, the president of the Stamps, to invite him to come on and chat about what's happening this year, especially. Then talk about, of course, the plans that are in place already for the 2026 Grey Cup, because you don't just start planning.
Unless you're Saskatchewan.
Well, they don't plan.
Remember, we didn't know who the halftime show was until like a week before.
Because they didn't know.
Well, that's because Florida and Georgia line split.
They didn't know if they're getting Georgia or Florida line. They weren't sure. Was it Georgia or Florida?
Anything else in the world of CFL before we wrap up the show?
No, not really. Anything that I'm missing? Did I forget something? I don't think so.
No, I think I went through our list. We checked everything off on the list.
Cool.
Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 112 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. Follow us. You seem confused.
I thought it was 113 last week.
Nope, it was definitely 111 last week.
I think Jake just makes numbers up. Did anybody ever watch WCW? Who's old around here? WCW when Goldberg first started. And 1 week he would be 24-0, and the next week he'd be 50-0, and the next week he had 49-0.
Yeah, they had
big numbers up.
They had a whole bunch of house shows.
No. They admitted it after the fact. They were just adding numbers. They didn't care. Nobody was paying attention.
And the thing is, it's not like nowadays where you can just go to a website called cagematch.com and look up and be like, that's not right.
No, we just went, oh, Goldberg.
Oh, God. Overrated.
You're way over. And we didn't even talk about WrestleMania. How about that, eh? We got through a whole show and Monday night WrestleMania, and we can go out and watch Raw because apparently it's going to be cool. And we didn't even talk about WrestleMania.
I know. I saw some spoilers for Raw. So.
I don't want to know.
But you can follow us at HSP_pod. Follow me at JStreams. The old man, you can follow him at oldman_HSP. You can also follow him on Facebook at Cavalli Channeling. Does all sorts of different things with different hats on. A little bit less crazy. The Toucan does not have any social media because we've banned him. We've put the ban hammer down. We've deleted.
We didn't delete.
Deleted.
We didn't delete.
Deleted the Toucan.
Follow the Toucan. Guys, we need to start this again. We need to free the Toucan. Jake doesn't want the Toucan to be our mascot. He is officially our mascot.
So I'm
the senior here.
You're definitely the senior. The question I have is, if I give you one of the two things that you want, which one are you happier with? Bringing back the old man predicts?
Oh, we're definitely
or
Fans,
the toucan.
you even
You get one. You get one. You're the co-host. That means
You-
second
you-
host.
You even used to introduce it as the fans' favorite segment.
That was
That's
before
how
we
you
had.
introduced it every week.
That's before we had any fans.
Oh, we're gonna bring it back when we start the CFL because that was when it started, and it kind of blew to pieces during the NHL because it doesn't work the same. But
Yeah, it's a lot harder with the NHL versus
yes.
the CFL.
the CFL, we'll start it again, and you will see how great of a predictor I really am. Till next week, folks.
Don't know when we'll be live, but we will be live or maybe recorded next week.
We're not sure.
Stick tuned to our social medias. That's why it's so important to follow us. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're on YouTube, hit that little bell. That little bell will tell you when we're going live.
Ding, 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 ding.
You'll never miss one of these shows. Have yourself a wonderful week. Mwah. Goodbye.